I have these friends, Dan and Sheila. They're podcast hosts.
Welcome to Profiling Criminal Minds. I'm Dan,
And I'm Dr. Redmond.
and we are back for episodes 4 through 6 of Dexter Season 1. Before we get to that, though, I do have news. This is news that you listening to this already know because it happened 8 months ago. But because it just happened yesterday, I have to bring it up here on the show in the recording timeline. Dexter Original Sin Season 2 has been canceled.
No.
Yeah, it aired from December to February, and in March they announced they were doing a second season. But right after that is when the merger stuff
Oh,
essentially started ramping up, and it was one of the shows that Skydance didn't necessarily know if it wanted to keep going. And so now the new owners of Paramount have decided, meh, we're not doing Original Sin Season 2. I know, right? I'm I am dismayed,
I
but
am.
that's where we are. All right. And by
Oh,
the way, if you
oh.
ever wondered if your phone is listening to you, there were two Dexter TV shows, right? That came out in the past year, Original Sin and now Resurrection. And I would like to point out that not once in the past year has my phone given me a notification about the TV show Dexter. Not once. But I start recording a Dexter podcast for a week and a half or 2 weeks now, and suddenly my phone is talking about Dexter all the time.
I should check my phone.
Yeah, I think your notifications. I mean, because we always get the Criminal Minds news, because my phone always hears me talking about Criminal Minds, but suddenly I'm getting notifications about Dexter. So yeah, if
Okay.
you're ever wondered if your phone's listening to you, yeah, your phone's listening to you. You know, you're
Of
being spied on all the
course.
time, everybody. Oh, but it's for marketing purposes. Blah, blah, blah. Anyway,
Blah, 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 blah.
it's disgusting and it should be illegal. But anyway, I did, however, get some clue that might explain why Dexter Original Sin is so good.
Okay.
And this is something now, here's something that our audience might not know. We have done no legwork about Dexter. We have not looked into the show. We have not looked into like who's making the show. We have done no research whatsoever. We have just been taking Dexter as it comes. And as you might have heard, surprisingly enjoying ourselves. We
Yeah,
haven't
so
read the
far.
books. We
Yep.
never went back and watched the original show. It's been a fun ride. So, would you like to know who created Dexter Original Sin?
Who?
The original creator of Dexter, the TV show, and showrunner of like the first season or two, maybe three.
Really?
Yeah, that explains so much.
Wow.
Yep, I think it explains a lot. And I think there's a chance that the guy who created Dexter might be on Team Brian Moser, who did nothing wrong. There's at least a chance.
Well, given that, and has turned Harry into the full-scale monster
That we always knew, that we always suspected he was.
suspected he was.
You know,
Yeah.
that was our headcanon is now the show's official message is, yeah, Harry's a monster.
Yeah. Isn't that interesting?
It's
Because,
very interesting.
well, we'll have to keep that one in mind
Yeah,
as
as
we
we
go
watch going
forward.
forward and
Yeah.
find out, we're going to start looking for when does he stop being the showrunner, you know? When is he just getting a paycheck for having created, like being the guy who developed Dexter, and when does he stop actually being the showrunner, you know? When does Scott Buck take over? You may be asking, why does he know the name of one of the showrunners of Dexter? Because when Dexter got bad, the fan community all kind of like really started talking loudly about how they blamed showrunner Scott Buck. And I don't know why I remember that, but I do remember that that was a big thing in the Dexter fan community,
Yeah.
blaming showrunner Scott Buck. All right.
Well, and who knows why they changed the showrunner?
Yeah.
It probably was a whatever
Yeah.
decision. And yeah, because, well, you look at Criminal Minds, Ed Bernero.
Ed Bernero left.
Yeah.
and the kind of show it was shifted. I mean, probably
Yeah.
not as dramatically as
As
Dexter
Dexter
shifted.
did. No, no,
But
no.
like you look at
Other
something
things.
like our beloved uh our beloved Ray Donovan, right? Like the creator of Ray Donovan leaves
Oh,
after season 2, and you know, I mean,
just downhill
it's a
from there.
precipitous drop.
It's just unbelievable, the drop. Like it isn't even worth watching after the second season.
Yeah, it isn't. Because Ray Donovan was about actual things,
Yeah.
and after that second season, it just became,
It's
a
the
ridiculous
aftermath. Yeah.
fantasy,
Yeah,
like
it was about the aftermath, the long-term aftermath
of trauma.
of, well, the trauma of being sexually abused by a priest
Oh yeah,
and the familial sort
yep,
of trauma that
yeah.
had in
How that turns into generational trauma.
because,
How
well,
it's
it was
like,
his
look at how he
father.
takes, but yes, and looks how he takes it out on his kids.
Yep.
Like his father was a neglected, full monster who allowed him to be abused, and look what Ray does to his kids because of the abuse that he suffered. Like it was a good show those first 2 years.
Yeah, and
It was a
that,
really good show.
well, and the thing is that you do understand with Ray Donovan just how, because even though it is not as clear as it would have been becoming,
Yeah,
is that John Voight, who played his father, Ray should have just killed, but
yeah,
that's
yeah,
um and should have had nothing more to do with. His
yep,
father also had been sexually abused by a priest.
yep. And he
And
said, "Well, it didn't hurt me none." Jesus
I
Christ,
got over it. Well, no,
you're a
no, you
monster.
didn't. You were a monster, John Voight.
Like you are a monster. That's the
Still,
plot of the show. The
yeah,
thing is, the first season ended with what do you call it? Him killing that priest.
yeah,
And if the show really understood, his growth and accepting, second season should have ended with him killing John Voight.
yeah. No, I can remember us having that. I was
Conversation at the
so,
time.
yeah,
Yeah,
conversation at the time. Ray Donovan was, because it was a brilliant show the
it
first
was.
2 years, and because all of his two brothers as well,
Yeah,
and only one of them, like none of them knew that Ray had also been sexually abused,
nope,
and the one brother who had come out about being sexually abused
yeah,
got a payoff from the
from the
Catholic
diocese.
Church,
Yeah,
from the diocese, and it's but he never knew that his brothers
yeah,
as well.
also suffered. Yeah,
Yeah, and it is all about the secrecy of it. It is all, this is why, I mean, it on Spotlight, right?
yeah.
Because it stars who's Ray Donovan?
No, Liev Schreiber.
Lee Schreiber.
Yeah,
Yes. And Lee Schreiber, of course, was in Spotlight as well.
yep. He
And
played the new managing editor of the
yeah,
new publisher of the newspaper.
yeah, and it is an interesting thing, Ray Donovan, because somebody had to have put the brakes on that storyline,
I know.
because I
It
can't
really
imagine
felt like it.
Amy not going forward with it.
Well, she got fired.
Yes.
So somebody, and I'm just gonna say this. You want to talk, we really did like those first 2 seasons. Third season still has some stuff in it. It goes down precipitously from there.
Oh, it just
But it
gets,
is insane to like do a whole show about corruption and evil and all that in Hollywood, and Scientology never came up once.
yeah.
If you want to know how terrifying Scientology is to people in Hollywood, a show about how corrupt Hollywood is never mentions Scientology once.
I mean, that's an interesting, it is sort of interesting because it is the power of Scientology, yeah, afterwards, right? This
Yeah,
is afterwards, because the first 2 seasons are about the power of the Roman Catholic Church
exactly.
as
And
the institutional power, even with in Boston, right?
yeah, oh, of
Because they
course.
were all raised in Boston,
Yeah,
and
they're
this is,
Boston goon. It's a family of Boston goons.
yeah, Yeah. They're Southies in Boston.
Exactly.
They're not Westies, but they're Southies. And
Hmm.
so it is it was astonishing, yes, and that happens, and you can see it. Well, even Millennium,
Yeah, was
that
willing
third
to,
season,
yeah. No, not third season. Millennium. No,
second,
second season they did the wonderful Selfosophy episode.
yeah, that was
That's
funny.
like, it is insane that like Millennium and the Mentalist are the only shows to directly take on Scientology.
Yeah, that was hilarious.
Oh
That
yeah,
one
it was. All right,
in
but that's enough Ray
anyway,
Donovan talk. We're not
yeah.
here to talk about Ray Donovan. Spoiler alert, we're never going to be a Ray Donovan show. Now you might say, yeah, but you had said previously you probably were never going to become a Dexter show, and now you're a Dexter show. But no, we're never going to be a Ray Donovan show.
Well, because it's not about serial killing.
Exactly. It's just
We
not
have
about
to have a
serial killing.
different podcast to do Ray Donovan.
Yeah, we would have, like we did for Wise Guy, and I don't think Ray Donovan really deserves that kind of close analysis.
No, I need to set up podcast
Yeah.
to discuss the entire issue of the
Yeah.
child sexual abuse that is still going on. And I'll tell you,
Oh,
Snap is now
yeah.
really pissed off with the new Pope.
Oh,
And
you know what?
that's a
Again,
whole other
this is a
story.
conversation we're going to have later.
Yeah.
This is not a now conversation.
No,
This is
this is a
definitely not a
whole
now
other,
conversation. This
yeah,
is a whole other thing.
yeah.
Yeah, but anyway, the important part is we're big fans of the early Ray Donovan. All right, now let's talk Dexter. Let's do
Hmm.
it.
Lordy. Oh, all of this. So we
I
ended
know.
up at the end of three.
Yeah.
So then we get into four, and you can see where the friction between Deb and Dexter is just beginning.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because she has her theories. Those are going to come up more in the second episode when they're dealing
Mhm.
with the garbage. Sorry, in the third episode, episode 6, when she's
Yeah,
dealing with the garbage. Sorry, the scrapyard killer.
yeah,
But this episode is great because even though Brian isn't in it yet, right? His shadow looms over the episode. And we can say that, because spoiler alert, Brian's the one chopping up the bodies, right? Is the one chopping up the body and leaving parts in various places that Dexter, remembers from his childhood.
yeah. That first episode, because we have forgotten that obviously, he's leaving and because we have Dexter Original Sin is
Yeah,
what we know the meaning of the chopped up bodies. We know the meaning of the
exactly.
fingers. We know why he's leaving these heads stuck to Dexter's refrigerator
I know. Exactly. Like we
and in
understand
other
the
places. Yeah.
significance, but people watching it the first time. But what I found interesting watching this episode is
Hmm.
that it's interesting because we talk about how important it is that our beloved Dexter Original Sin is for contextualizing, right, Dexter's relationship with Brian and Brian's motivation for everything he does.
Yeah.
But the interesting thing about this season is, like, what if you go back and watch it after, finding out the reveal is and knowing who the ice truck killer is, right? When you get to the end of the season, I still think it would be additionally powerful, right? That he is recreating, like forcing Dexter to go to moments from his childhood,
Oh,
because you really even if you hadn't seen, even if Original Sin didn't exist yet, which it didn't, obviously,
yeah.
like it is Brian, like showing all of the family that he missed out of. This is all the stuff
Yeah.
that was stolen from Brian
Yep.
by being thrown out of the family. And you completely get that. I mean, obviously it's more intense if you've seen Original Sin, and clearly the showrunner understood that there was a way to get more power of stuff that had done in the first season. But like once you know that Brian is his brother, like showing that there was someone missing from all of these family photos is significant enough on its own. And I think
Yeah.
it's really
No,
powerful.
no, no. This was a powerful episode,
Yeah.
and because it's funny, because I'm watching it and I don't really remember a lot. Sometimes I remember the odd little thing, but I don't really remember an awful lot in of Dexter. I just washed through my mind, right? I just
Yeah,
yeah,
of course.
because there were other things to concentrate on.
Oh,
But
absolutely.
it is all of those different places, all of those different photographs, like
Hmm.
where these bodies are, um it those pictures, because Brian went into his house
Yeah.
and got those pictures,
Yeah, and he flipped through
saw
the
those
photo
pictures,
album and he tried to figure out like which things from the photo album were the most meaningful, right?
and
And he, yeah,
yeah, well, then there's the consistency of they are now, all of those landmarks are now
are
something
places that
else.
have been transformed into something else. Yeah, like
Yes.
the places where now that Dexter offers that as a clue, as his clue. That doesn't actually mean anything. The
Well, it might.
No,
It
because the most important place hasn't changed. Dexter assumes that because
the
remember,
hospital.
Dexter, yeah, it hasn't changed. It's still just a hospital. I mean, it's out of business now, but it
Oh,
hasn't
it hasn't.
changed. Because remember,
Well, it's been,
Dexter thinks the
yes.
change is important, right? And
Yeah.
so he thinks, what was my most like what was the place I love to go the most? That's where the next body part is going to be. And so he rushes to the junkyard where he used to, as a child, think, oh, if I killed somebody, I could just drop the body there, right?
Hmm.
And he's like, this is the place I hung out most as a kid. And so, because yeah, it is
It's
kind
the
of
garbage
strange.
place. Yeah.
It is kind of strange that that there's a family photo of Dexter smiling next
It's
to a
the garbage.
junkyard.
It's not
Yeah,
no, it's not a junkyard. It's the garbage dump.
yeah. Sorry, garbage dump. You're right.
Yeah, it's
I'm thinking about the junkyard again. Yeah, the
yeah,
garbage dump, right?
the
But
garbage dump. And
and
he's
so
smiling. Yeah.
because he thinks what's the most important thing to him,
Yeah.
right? And so he goes there, but it's condos now and there's no body. Dexter was wrong about the transformation being important.
Yeah. No, here's what I would say.
Yeah.
Okay. Because it's not that the hospital is still there. The hospital has been abandoned and closed down. So it
Yeah.
is no longer serviceable. So it is falling apart.
Hmm.
So in some ways it has changed. But like I bought the idea that what Dexter can't figure out, to me, if Brian was going to do that, like that made some sense simply because um he's trying to make Dexter think about the past before he became part of the family.
No, no. What you're missing is, and this
I
is
know.
what he's also missing, and this is what, right, is pointed out to him by Rita, and he doesn't even get it when Rita points it out. Like it literally takes Brian putting a smiley face on the most important picture, right, for Dexter to figure out. No, what you're missing is all of the pictures he picks are pictures with him and Harry. The first one is a family photo, so Harry's in it. The second one, it's him at the soccer game, but Harry's shadow is completely visible. Taking the picture, Harry's shadow is literally looming over Dexter. And the third one, the hospital, is Harry and Dexter standing in front of the hospital sign.
Yeah.
All of them are pictures of him and Harry.
Okay.
That's what Brian is focused on.
Okay. I'll buy that.
Yeah.
I went way too deep.
Yeah, and the important part
Potentially.
is
Yeah.
Rita's the one who points it out. That
Yeah.
it's like because she points out,
The
right,
shadow.
the shadow, that Harry is still present in the photo, right? And
Yeah.
it's artistic the way he's always with you. And it's like,
Yeah.
yeah, Harry is always with him, and that's not necessarily a good thing, but that's a conversation we've already had and are probably going to continue to have.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that is, yeah. Oh, well.
Yeah, that's the key
Oh,
part.
yeah. I
Yeah,
mean,
that's the key
some
part.
of it because
Easy
we
to
know that.
miss, but it is the key part.
Mhm.
All right.
But he does realize that finally
Yeah, he does.
in
He
these
does
episodes
understand. Yes, he does
that
by the end of
Brian,
the episode figure out the importance of Harry. Now,
And the fact that Brian is watching him
oh
all the
yes,
time.
all the time. I mean, he doesn't know it's all the time until episode 6, but we'll
Yeah,
we'll get there when we get there. Episode 6, he finds out, oh my God, I'm being watched all the time.
yeah.
So, key moment, right? See, the important part about this episode is
The
whose
first
limbs
episode,
they're
yeah,
finding. Yeah, episode 4.
yeah.
It's whose limbs they're finding. Because right away they find the hand, they check the fingerprints, and it's Tony's hand. Tony being the security guard who Brian forced to plant the bodies and essentially was quote unquote framing for the crime.
In
And
the ice rink.
in the ice rink, exactly.
Yeah,
The stadium security guard, right?
yeah.
And then the foot shows up. So the hand shows up at the beach, the foot shows up at the soccer stadium, the old soccer field, which isn't a soccer field anymore. And this is the key part. When they're looking at the bodies, the hand and the foot were both cut off just hours of a living person, just hours before they were dropped.
Yeah.
And that means there's a really good chance he's still alive. Like he was definitely alive. Like he was definitely
With the
alive when the hand
hand.
was cut off, but he was still alive a full day later when the foot was cut off.
Yeah. So
And
there's a
that's
good
the key
chance he
part.
may still be alive.
Exactly.
And this is, I mean, it is very interesting how they process all of that, like how they're going along,
Hmm.
because the guy who's doing the autopsy brings
Yeah.
this up. It's it is better written than I
Remembered.
remembered.
Yeah, I know. I
Okay.
agree with you on that one.
This is, the all of the bits and pieces and the
How well
mistakes
it
they
ties
make.
together. Yeah.
Yeah.
It
And
is. It's a better show in this first season than I remember it being in the first season.
yes, but
I'm
that
not going to
may,
say it's a great show. I'm saying it's a better show than I remember it being.
yes, and I think that in part that is because we watched Original Sin.
No, it is. I mean, some of that is original sin, and some of that, like you say, is just they are constructing these things well. They
Yes,
really
they
are.
are, and so
Yeah. No,
it was it
it's interesting.
yeah,
Please.
this one, no, I'm just trying to think. I mean, and the people's work lives, like I like it, almost all three episodes blend for me.
Yeah.
Like,
I will be stricter about I'll make sure I'm strict about, holding us to what
what
happened in which episode.
yeah,
Yeah.
because it's a we're walking on this journey, right?
We are. Exactly, right?
And the last one is actually, that's the most powerful
Yeah.
episode of the three.
Oh,
Is
totally.
number 6 is just like, whoa.
Hmm.
um and you get little things, little things with Darla, and you get little things with
Yeah, because
their
the first
kids.
episode
And
is the first if I recall correctly, first episode is first episode Halloween and the dog? Or is that no, that's first episode because Angel stuff is the second episode. No, Angel stuff is the first episode. Second episode is Halloween and the dog. You're right that they run together.
yeah, when you watch them the way we're watching them, one right after another, they blend.
They can run
It's
together.
Yeah,
Yeah.
in your head, they kind of run
I
together
understand where you're
because
coming from, absolutely.
um it's a strange thing, as
Oh,
far as
totally.
I'm concerned, right?
Oh,
um
100%.
to be watching this, right, as we're going along. And so
Yeah.
I'm
All
so
right.
we're
I will keep us locked in, don't worry.
okay.
So the important part is let's just briefly mention LaGuerta is terrible as
Oh,
part of this storyline. I just when they find out it's the body, because she's set everyone on a on a
they've been looking
massive
for this,
statewide
yeah,
manhunt
for this
for the
guy.
security guard, right? And
Yeah,
they have announced effectively that he is the killer,
yeah,
that he is the ice truck killer, and now it's his hand. And so you get the hilarious moment where she's talking to Jeff Pearson.
Yeah.
Like it could still be him. It's like, what?
Come
He cut off
on.
his own hand? What are you talking about?
No, this was, it was, yeah,
That was funny. But
No,
and I
it
mean
was.
it is how
And
cops operate though. Cops refuse to admit they're wrong ever.
yeah, and
Like
so,
that's a
and of course
big
she's
thing with
had a big
cops.
press conference already, and
Yep.
they've got this manhunt going
A
looking for
big,
this
by the way,
guy.
Jeb Bush approved press conference, we are told.
Yes.
At the time, Jeb
He was
Bush
the
was just the
governor.
governor of Florida and not an absolute joke as he is now.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
what happened, right? What happens, of course, when her boss just says,
No,
and
you
he
have to
warns
go.
her not to
Yeah.
do the press conference.
Yeah.
He does. He
He
says,
did.
I don't think you should do this yet. Just maybe you
Yeah.
should. No, she was going to do it.
No matter
And now
what.
all of a sudden she has to,
Yeah, she
and
has
they
to take it all
went.
back and apologize to the mother and say that
Well,
they're going to
what
try and
happens, of
find
course,
him. Yeah.
they go to do the with the mother,
Yeah.
To console her and tell her he's probably dead.
And then she finds out that actually they might be able to bring him back alive.
Yeah.
There's a chance. Which there is a funny moment in there, right? Where I was watching these guys
Yeah.
and like, yeah, I got my problems with LaGuerta. I think we all do. She's really terrible a lot of the time,
Yeah.
but I will defend her in one respect. I don't think it was unreasonable for her to think Tony was the killer because there was literally video of Tony arranging severed body parts in a goal.
Yeah. No,
Like
for sure.
like it's not yeah, there is him glancing off to the side at one point, but the all of the reason to believe he wasn't the killer was a brief moment of him glancing to the side. So I'm not saying LaGuerta did nothing wrong. I'm not saying
No.
LaGuerta's great. I'm saying no, there was reason to think he was the killer. It's just Jeff Pearson was right. They didn't have enough evidence to do a giant statewide manhunt and loudly publicize it. They
Yes,
should
it
have
was.
continued investigating
Yeah. Well, they could have sort of done a manhunt without doing
without
the
it
media
being,
stuff.
yeah, without doing the giant media stuff. And that's the real issue, I think.
Yeah. Because that makes it worse for her when she has to
Go
really
and take it all
apologize
back. Yeah.
and take it all back with the mother, right?
Hmm. Yeah.
And so they do find him.
Okay, we'll get
And
to how they find him in a second.
yeah,
So obviously, right, Deb is
that's in
working the
next week. Yeah.
case. Yeah, no, that happens this week. He gets found this week. So what
No, but it's
happens is
never
no, it
mind.
is, trust me. So and because again, I have my notes here. I make notes and then I
Oh,
email
okay.
notes to myself. I'm
Okay.
on top of this. Don't worry.
Okay.
Uh,
So
right. So it's fine. So it's okay. But the important part is, so Dexter goes to the place that was in the picture with Harry, right? And he looks through the hospital and he finds Tony tied to a bed with missing parts. And the key part is Tony is blindfolded. And there's no reason for him to be blindfolded, right?
yeah.
Unless he has no idea who the ice truck killer is. And essentially, Dexter believes, and there's no reason to think he's wrong, that Brian has set him up like this so Dexter gets to decide what happened to Tony. Because again, like he literally put a smiley face on the back of the picture saying
Hmm.
where Tony was. He went out of his way to make this as easy for Dexter as possible. Right?
Hmm.
It was not a difficult crime to solve if you had just gone through your photo album right away, Dexter. And the key part is that Dexter goes and he looks at the body and he decides, I'm not going to kill him. And this is why I think this scene is really important. Because what does he do then? He phones the police and makes an anonymous call to Deb about where to find where to find Tony. And Tony goes and rescues. Deb goes and rescues Tony. And my point is, so Dexter can call the cops and give anonymous tips. Apparently, all this time, Dexter had the ability to call the cops and give anonymous tips. I think this very much speaks to our criteria for whether Dexter is, a hypocrite or not.
Yep.
Because all this time, Dexter could have just been phoning people up and giving people anonymous tips about where to find these guys. Because the minute it behooves him to do so, he has no problem phoning up and giving an anonymous tip. So there you go. And a big question answered for us.
Yeah. And
Oh man.
it becomes worse as he keeps getting away with it. And
Exactly. He'll
and I
he'll
mean, and then when
really go
he's
nuts.
yes, and then in episode 6, good Lord.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my
So
God. All right. So we have our fun. So she has rescued him. That's the end of the episode. Dexter knows he's being watched. Dexter knows this is all about him, but he doesn't know why. But Tony has been watched. All right.
I
We get to
rescued, yeah.
episode 5. This is where half of the episode is the cops investigating the site where Tony was being held, and half the episode is Dexter looking into the coyote who is killing people who have come from Cuba at Rita's behest.
Oh yeah, well no. He's killing this coyote not because Rita has I mean,
Yeah,
that was such a good scene.
it was.
This guy is killing people who can't come up with the extra money,
Mm-hmm.
which is the problem.
Yeah, because he takes, thousands of dollars to move them from Cuba. But then when he gets there, he's like, okay, I want another $5,000. And then he murders the people if he doesn't get it.
Yeah, he just throws
Now,
them overboard and says swim.
yeah, he's a bad, well, he doesn't actually. He,
Oh no,
pretends
that's
that's what he
right.
does. He actually drowns them in the boat.
Yeah, and then
Yeah,
throws them overboard.
exactly.
Yeah.
Because he's a bad guy.
Hmm.
As is his wife, it turns out.
As it turns out.
As we learn later on, turns out all his wife is also trash, but that's not important right now. Right now, let's just talk about the Tony stuff, because again, this is pretty solid. We get, because obviously, because Deb got the tip, right, that got them the ice truck killer's hideout and rescued Tony, she is allowed to really formally like go into a take charge kind of position on the case.
Hmm.
And so she's working with Dokes. She is having, it's like having honestly a pretty great time.
Hmm.
We get the wonderful scene with Dokes' family,
It
which I
was-
absolutely adored.
they love Deb.
Oh, they adore her. Yeah,
Although you
they
can see
adore.
Dokes, okay, raised in a family with only women.
Yep,
Hmm.
just surrounded by women and is consequently unbelievably performatively masculine all the time. Like just the toughest guy, real again, real Derek Morgan energy coming off of Dokes a lot of the time.
Oh yeah, that's for sure.
100%. Oh, I'm starting to remember why I really like Dokes. Oh, yeah, we forgot to mention episode 4, the Doke storyline was resolved because Scott Winters was fought like essentially he says that his plan was to make it look like Dokes was being hung out to dry by the whole department so that the cartel would think they were safe to come for him and murder him.
Yeah.
But then he just wanted to get the cartel boss, which is what happens. They come to murder Dokes, but Scott Winters is there with him, and he
Not that
uh
Dokes knows that.
no, not that he knows that. He specifically doesn't tell him. And the
Yeah.
real question is Scott Winters lying about this? And was he planning to let the cartel kill Dokes first? We
Well,
don't know.
yeah, he brought more people than
Yeah,
Winters,
he
so
brought
he
him
must have
exactly.
changed his mind.
That the thing is, I honestly think, and again, this is something that we're never going to get an answer to, but again, based on the way the scenes are organized, Scott Winters is genuinely surprised to find out that his sister filed for
Yeah,
divorce from her husband. And I think if he had not found that out
he would
and
have just,
realized, he would have let Dokes get killed before,
yeah,
busting the cartel boss.
yeah,
But I think when he finds out that she was just dating Dokes after filing for divorce, he softens what his plans were, is my suggestion.
yeah,
And I think it's fair to say that. But so the Dokes plot line for the past couple of episodes, that has been, resolved.
resolved.
All right. So then we get, and I'm a little embarrassed you forgot this. And I know you haven't seen Dexter in 20 years, so it's understandable you forgot this. But we see Deb going to talk to Tony about the situation. And I hate to be the one to break you to you. Brian's the doctor.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, Brian's the doctor. The doctor's Brian. Because like, and literally the first time I watched it, I'm
Oh,
like, wait, a handsome doctor who deals with amputees and is coming on to Deb? Of course he's the ice truck killer, is what I thought the first time I watched it. And it turned out I was right. But you obviously just forgot that part. But yeah, Brian's the doctor.
no. And when I looked at the doctor, I'm going, there's
Is he
something.
familiar? Something going on with him?
Yeah, is there that's
Yeah,
so is Deb
that's
gonna go out
Brian.
with the doctor?
Yeah,
And I'm just okay, so that's Brian. Yes,
that's
I had
Brian.
forgotten. Okay, I had forgotten that that's Brian,
Hmm.
but you know,
No, I mean, it's one scene. It's literally
mhm.
just one scene, right?
But I did stop and
You,
question
that's true.
myself about that guy. Like
Yeah.
it doesn't he continue on, but it just never I never pushed it to, oh,
Yeah.
that's Brian. Because
That's Brian
in my
Moser.
head, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So I understand why it wouldn't get there because it's not like there's anything obviously suspicious about him in this episode. But yeah, that's Brian Moser. That's the ice truck killer. Spoiler alert, if this is if you're watching it for the first time, we've
Yeah.
already talked a lot about how Brian Moser is the ice truck killer, so that's not going to be a surprise. But yeah,
So
the
he's
doctor
also a
is
doctor.
Brian.
So
He's all I mean, I don't remember if he's really a doctor or pretending to be a doctor, but because what do you call it? I had forgotten how they met, and I had forgotten he was a doctor,
so
which is a
well,
little
we're gonna
embarrassing.
find out as we
But
go
the
along.
minute he showed up on screen, and I'm like, because again, maybe if they canceled Dexter Original Sin, what we really need is a some kind of a Brian spinoff. You know, him like being a doctor
That
in say Los
he
Angeles, serial killing while being a doctor. Just that could be fun, right?
well, there is a missing 15 years, so he
That's
could
what
have
I'm
gone to
saying.
medical
Like, yeah,
school.
he could have gone
We
to medical
know.
school, let him
Yeah.
become a doctor. Yeah. Like, there's no reason Brian couldn't have like turned his life around and actually become a doctor. We're gonna find out over the course of this season whether he's really a doctor or whether he like is pretending to be a doctor somehow. I mean, we find out that Dexter is pretending to be a doctor, so uh, in the dumbest way possible. But we'll get there. But the important part is she tries to interview Tony, and Tony keeps hitting on her because he's a dog, as we're told over and over again. He's a charming character, but the key part is he is terrified that he's not a man anymore
Yeah.
because he has lost his hand and his foot
Yeah.
and well, most of one of his legs, right?
Yeah.
And I completely like get it, but at the same time, right? I, it's just a hand, guy. There are people with so much worse injuries who
Yeah.
still manage
Yes,
to
but he's
find
still
people and
in a
get
state
married.
of shock.
He is still in a state of
Look,
shock.
yeah, come on.
Absolutely.
He is barely, I mean, he's gone through this massive traumatic episode
He has.
and he hasn't had time. And one of the big things, because he's a dog, one of the big things is that, oh shit, nobody's ever gonna, well, he would eventually have adapted to that. So stop being so hard on poor Tony
Okay,
at
I'll
this
stop
point.
being so hard on Tony. All
Because I
right.
have listened, I mean, I just finished listening to a couple and they both lost the same leg in this huge accident.
Oh,
And they have been, and you can hear they're dealing with it and they're being positive about it and everything else. But you can hear that when they interviewed the wife at one point, like the two of them are talking, but you can just see
yeah,
that this has been a choice that they are going to deal with this in a positive manner,
right.
but
And that's not
it's
easy to do.
hard
Yeah.
and it's not easy because I mean every time I think about myself, for example, if I
Hmm.
went blind, I don't know what I do.
Right.
That's a panic for me. I know that I would adapt if it happened. right? I simply because I adapt to every friggin' thing that's ever happened in my life. I've managed to push through. So
Yeah.
I'll push through that, anything like that too. But in the beginning, I mean, this is,
It's a horrifying idea.
it's,
It's like
and
my terror of going deaf. Same thing.
yeah, and it is, you just sit there, right? And go, there are things that all of us, but it is the trauma initially that kind of gives you you know, the dark ideas and the dark feelings, but he manages, and Deb does a good job.
She actually really does. She's very
Yes.
sensitive,
And very
right?
good with him.
Yeah, and very good with him of
And he
making him feel
finally
supportive and heard.
and he finally comes through
Yeah.
with with the whatever he remembers,
Well, he
right?
remembers that Brian is always popping lozenges.
Yeah, well, hulls,
Well, no, I mean they're
that
not
that kind
hulls,
of,
but yeah,
well, they're
like
wrapped in pieces of paper. So
well, no
that's,
plastic. They're wrapped in pieces of plastic because they find one in the
I thought it
rat's
was,
lair. No,
well,
it's plastic.
well,
We see it. It is see-through plastic.
okay, well, doesn't matter. They're like
Yeah, they're
hulls are
like
in
Vicks
paper.
lozenges, whatever. It doesn't
Yeah.
matter what brand it is. You know,
Jeez.
it doesn't.
Anyway,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah.
But he
But he is
finally
always,
remembers
yeah,
that the guy has always got these lozenges because he seems to have a problem with his throat,
yeah,
or
exactly.
dead. Maybe he's got a cold at this point, or his,
Yeah, and so they're
whatever.
managed to find a fingerprint on
A
the
partial, yeah.
lozenge. Now, this really does raise the question, does not remembering to wear rubber gloves run in the
The
family?
family.
Because when Dexter goes into the hospital to look for Tony, he's also not wearing gloves as he touches everything. What is it with these guys and not wearing
Wearing gloves.
gloves?
Well,
Both of them.
I know.
Oh, it's so frustrating to watch.
But I'm just trying to, I would have to try and go back
Yeah.
to when did sort of the whole business with the CISs and all of this wearing of coverage and things.
Yeah.
Well, it would have started, I think in part it started because of the AIDS crisis,
Yeah. But
not
this is
because of leaving things.
2006.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
we're talking now.
And he wears gloves when he's actually doing the killing.
Yeah.
So and he has worn a glove. We saw him while breaking into one house. So it's like, come on, guy,
Yeah.
let's get some gloves on. That's all I'm saying. I want you to get some gloves on. I don't think that's an unreasonable request. But anyway, the more important part is that they managed to figure out, they get a real clue towards Brian's identity, and that's huge. They've got the partial
Mhm.
print, and as they say, even if he isn't in the system already, as they get suspects and as they run into people, and if he gets arrested for anything else, they will get a notification right away. Now, they say that in theory. As we learned from Sam last week, dude had run over like 8 people in 8 states, and they
Yep.
didn't have any idea. But that's, given the
Well,
incompetence of the Miami Metro PD, we can be hopeful, but we're not going to be certain this is
yeah,
going to
and
help.
of course he wasn't. I was going to say, well, wasn't he fingerprinted when he went into the system?
Yeah,
But
I mean,
no,
what? It
but
was
I'll bet you not.
1970, like it was
Yeah, they wouldn't have done it, I don't think.
1970, what,
He was a
4?
child, and then
They
he
might
got
not have.
yeah, they might not have, and then they dumped him in a psychiatric institution for the rest
And
of his life.
all of his acting out,
Yeah.
right, was in those contexts. I don't know that he was charged with a crime.
No, it
I
doesn't
don't,
look like
so
he
yeah,
was
it
ever,
doesn't look like he was ever charged with a crime.
he was
So
just
there is a
moved.
real possibility his fingerprints aren't in the system, or if they are, they're sealed as part of a juvenile record.
Yeah.
So
So,
because it actually, I think you're right. I think it makes sense that Brian is not easily identifiable by fingerprints.
mhm.
Also, a single partial fingerprint, as we discussed, in Original Sin, is like not actual evidence you can use to convict someone because it's just nonsense.
Mhm.
Like a partial of one print means you don't even know which finger or which hand it came from. Because the thing is, if you've got two fingers in a row, you know right away whether it's a right or left hand, right? Two
Yeah.
fingerprints in a row, you know right away whether it's right or left hand because all of the fingers are so different in size that you can
Mhm.
immediately tell if you're looking at, say, a middle and a ring finger. And well, if the ring finger is to the right of the middle, it's a right hand, and vice versa.
Yeah.
But if you have just a if you have just a
Partial of
partial,
one
you
finger.
not only don't know what finger you're looking at, you don't even know which hand it is. So it's not useful evidence. It can be used like for elimination, but it should not be used for identification if you have a partial. Because if someone has all 10 fingers and none of them have the features in this partial, you can eliminate them. But just because someone has one of those features on one of their fingers, should not be used to identify them. No reputable um, fingerprint technician would ever use a single partial print to say this is the guy.
Yeah.
Now, again, I say reputable. The cops use disreputable experts all of the time. That's actually a big part of forensic
Yeah.
science is disreputable
Which
experts.
is why you need the defense attorneys to,
Exactly, the
yeah.
defense attorneys who the show has such a problem with
Yeah.
getting out there. All right. Yes, you need them to call these people on their crap, obviously.
Yeah.
So it's they have now got good evidence that they have some evidence, not good evidence to search them down. But meanwhile, Dexter is working on the case of the woman whose fiance was murdered by coyotes. Her
Yes.
body, the dead body turns up, and Dexter goes to look into the five suspects who might be involved in this coyote business. And he finds the right guy pretty quickly. Like,
Mhm.
finds the right guy right away, because not only is he super suspicious, right? Like, he pretends to not speak Spanish,
Yeah.
and he pretends to not own a boat, even though there is a boat key and a floaty on his keychain. Like, he's just lying for no reason. Like, dude,
Uh-huh.
what are you doing here?
What are you doing?
Yeah, you're just making yourself look more guilty. But Dexter finds him, and we have a perfect example of when Dexter could have called the cops,
Yeah.
because Dexter finds a bunch of bodies hidden on his boat. He goes to the boat to investigate, and he finds a bunch of bodies in the hold and takes pictures of them. And then the guy takes the bodies out to dump them. And I'm like, this is like maybe the greatest example of Dexter could have just called the cops.
Yeah.
Because right then, all you have to do is call the harbor patrol and say, hey, I just saw a guy putting drugs in the hold of his boat. You better pull him over.
Mm-hmm.
And the harbor patrol can search any boat it wants. Like, you don't have any rights of privacy on the sea. So it's like it is the perfect time. They would have searched the boats, they would have found the bodies. Boom, this guy's done. There's no conceivable explanation for why you've got three dead bodies of Cuban refugees on your boat.
And they already know he's a trafficker.
Exactly. They
He's a
already suspect.
coyote.
Yeah, they already
Yeah.
suspect he's a coyote. So yeah, this guy is done. But yeah, so I think we can right now just call this as, yeah, Dexter could have called the cops.
Yeah.
No
For
trouble
sure.
whatsoever. This is the perfect example of, yeah, Dexter could have called the cops. Okay. So he tracks the guy down. He waits for him to come back the next night. First, he has to deal with the Angel situation. He finds out that Angel and his wife are split up, and it's, oh, poor Angel. I mean, I know he's
Mm-hmm.
cheating on his wife, so I can only be so sad, but poor Angel.
Well, well, yes, but he was really cheating on his wife.
Yeah, he was.
And even after, I mean, this is the
Like,
thing.
to a certain extent, all cops cheat on their wives. That is just like a thing that is well known in the police community. But it was, I think, pretty egregious in Angel's case.
Well, I think so. And his wife just finally said, probably he brought home something he shouldn't have one
Yeah,
day.
that wouldn't
And
shock
that
me.
that would have been how she found out that he was
Hmm.
constantly. And then, of course, but
Yeah.
even after he buys her this thing and he goes there and he wants to try and make up with her, and he tries to do, and she just says no, off he
Yeah.
goes again. And, rather than
Immediately starts
stick it
flirting
out.
with women. Yeah.
Yeah,
Rather than put in the effort, he copes by going to get drunk at the salsa bar he likes with
yeah,
Dexter to celebrate him getting a raise.
yeah.
Ugh. Angel, sometimes we do these things to ourselves. You
Yes,
know?
Angel, you did this and you made no effort.
Yeah, you're making no effort to improve the toxic patterns that created this situation with your wife.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
but
you
we can
can't
talk
buy
about
your way out of
masculinity
this
and
one.
yeah, we'll have plenty to talk about with masculinity and machismo and the idea of what makes a man with Angel over the years. Believe me, that's going to
Hmm.
come up again. I did like the observation, like Dexter not understanding why, like Angel thinks they're, friends. I'm like, because you're like nice to him all of the time, and you always basically, like always agree with whatever he's saying about everything, and you
Yeah.
hang out and you make yourself easy to talk to. You're Angel's best friend. How have you not noticed this? Like you're literally Angel's best friend and you didn't realize it. Oh, Dexter. You're you're a funny one, and that's the nicest way to describe it. Oh my God. But yeah, him taking him taking Angel home drunk and then having to put him back in the car drunk and take him to his own house is very nice. I did enjoy that whole sequence. It made me very happy. Okay. So he goes to murder the trafficker, right? The human trafficker. And we had a moment that made me, of course, think about our beloved Profiler, season 3, episode 1. Do you have any idea how long it takes to light 100, 300 candles? Because the guy shows up to put people in the container, and then he turns around, and there is like a row of glass jars with candles in them, leading him to the camper where Dexter has like set up the kill room. And I'm like, I don't know this guy. I don't know what he thinks is going on in his life, but it's like, why would you follow that trail of
Probably because
candles?
he thinks his wife might have put it there.
There's no way he thinks his wife put that together. And if she did, like, they are not having like romantic rendezvous in a junkyard while he's dealing with dropping off various people they've essentially kidnapped at this point. There is no way he thinks
Yeah.
that's his wife. No, dude, just run. What are you doing? And the idea that Dexter assumes this guy would follow the course is crazy.
But he was right.
Well, he was right, but it's ridiculous that he
It's
was
called
right.
curiosity, and this guy thinks he's gotten away with everything and nobody knows anything. So,
Yeah, except the minute someone has set up a long trail of, candles in your crime scene, in the place where you do your crimes, I think we've just proven that somebody does know something. And he's already wary because that weird guy showed up
showed
the
up.
other day. Like, I don't know. I think he should be a little more wary, is all I'm saying. So Dexter ties him up, but then it turns out the wife shows up wondering why he's not home yet. And Dexter has to grab her too, because she opens the door to check for him and finds out that the people are all still locked up.
Yeah.
And is like, oh my God, the wife's in on it.
Yeah.
And again, nice scene. Nice scene between Dexter and the couple trying to figure out how
A
they could make it
relationship.
work. Yeah.
Yeah.
How they can make it work when they're both monsters.
And as the both of them say, well, we want the same things.
Yeah.
We have the same dreams.
Yeah.
A big house, boats, money.
Hmm. Yeah, like we're both equally shallow people who don't have empathy, so we make a good couple.
Hmm.
You know what? Yeah, I see where they're coming from. I totally get it. But I like that he kills them both, but he doesn't have time to chop them both up before the sun comes up. So husband goes into the car in pieces, but wife, because she's shorter, just goes in a big plastic bag.
Yeah.
And of course, that's going to be a problem for Dexter later. Uh, oh my God. All right.
And
As Dexter's walking out, he gets spotted. Oh, he gets spotted by a kid hiding in a trunk who managed to get away from the couple. Oh, I like
yes.
this.
And we also, yeah, so the guy spots Dexter.
Yeah.
The other thing is that um he opens up the truck that these
Yes.
women are all
And
in,
leave them all. Lets all
lets
of the
them all go.
hostages out.
Yeah.
Yeah, he does let all the hostages out. I mean, I feel like that was a little risky. You could have just called an anonymous tip in since, we know he loves anonymous tips. You could have just called in an anonymous tip saying, I heard screaming coming from that junkyard. You better check it out, and then left. But he does let them out.
Yeah, he lets them out and he
Hmm.
leaves the kid there.
Oh, he doesn't know about the kid. No, the
Oh, he
cops find the
doesn't
kid the
know
next
about the
day.
kid.
Yeah.
Oh, the next.
Yeah.
Okay, I was wondering. Yeah, okay. So the
Cops
kid
find the kid
sees
in
him.
episode 6. Yeah,
Yeah,
walking out.
yeah. And but the kid sees him letting everybody out.
Exactly.
And so which will pay off
Which pays off, I think, very well in episode
beautifully in
6.
episode
I
6.
really liked that. Like,
Oh
I
my God.
genuinely, I had
I'm
forgotten that that's what
so had
happened at the
I.
end of the episode.
I had
Such a good
completely
payoff.
bothered. And I went,
Yeah,
oh
I
yeah.
had totally forgotten the payoff, and it
Yeah.
is such a great payoff. All
Because
right.
well, yeah, because it the next
He's
episode.
terrified. Yeah, he's terrified that he's been spotted by this kid.
Yeah.
Understandably, you know? He's terrified that this kid is spotted. He's terrified that this kid can identify, and he spent the whole episode thinking he's gonna have to like ditch his life and flee. And he's just like, I
Yeah.
thought I would have had longer. Which leads to a key moment, right? Because in our continuing, yeah, obviously you have emotions, Dexter Watch.
Yes.
Obviously you have emotions because there's literally a moment in the next episode when he's talking about having to leave because there's drama because it's Aster's birthday and her dad wants to come to the party and she would rather cancel the party because she remembers that her
She
father
remembers
is a
how
monster.
violent he is.
Yeah,
The whereas her brother, who
yeah,
is so much younger, doesn't.
exactly.
As Dexter didn't.
It's literally, and again, this is why I talk about how disappointing it is
Yeah.
that they didn't
Keep Cody
continue
and
Cody and
yeah.
Aster on the show because they are setting up in this first season that she is Brian and Cody is Dexter.
Yeah.
And I don't know if they fully wanted to do that, but having her be the older one who remembers what a monster the father was, and
Yeah.
him being the child who has no conception of it, but obviously is going to have issues later, like it is a one-to-one comparison
Yeah, that's the funny,
between
and
Dexter
that's probably
and
why the
Brian.
showrunner, when he did Original Sin, right?
Understood that. Yeah.
Obviously, that's probably where he wanted to go after the second season of this Dexter, the third
Yeah.
season, whatever, when it goes bad.
Whenever he leaves. Yeah.
Whenever he leaves, he must have already thought about some of that, maybe not fully conceptualized
I
it.
feel like with Aster in this episode, I feel
Yeah.
like it was probably being planned. Right?
Yeah, I think it was being planned because, oh,
Oh, that poor girl.
and it was so hard. And because all of a sudden nobody was going to come to her party because Cody had said her husband was coming back, leading to one of Darla's bitchin' phone calls.
Yep.
Because she
Way to
is,
go.
yeah,
Actually standing up to her horrible nightmare of an ex-husband.
yeah,
Is
and
like, yeah, I can have
threatens,
you thrown
yep.
back in jail if you
So,
show up at this
yes,
house.
because that order is still in place.
Exactly. Yeah. There's still a protective order. You're still like, these are the people you commit crimes against. It doesn't matter. I have sole custody. You have no right to see the children. And yeah, she is completely right about all this. And I'm glad to see her standing up for herself. But she's learning to stand up for herself by, I know it's weird, having a good man in her life,
Yes.
and having someone who is unreservedly supportive of her at all times in every way.
I mean, that's what is so weird about it, right? Now,
Yeah.
and as we said, when the first one, we didn't talk about that, where he was so happy to have her because, of course, her husband had beaten her and raped her
Yeah.
and everything. And so she wasn't interested in sex.
And now she's finally come around to that.
Yeah, she's finally starting to come around to that. She's finally starting to trust Dexter
Yeah.
and
Trust him enough to explore that safely with
yes.
him.
Yeah.
And of course, he doesn't know exactly how to deal with that because he's not great with women. We get
But
flashbacks to his teenage dating
yeah.
and him being not great at it, and Harry not doing a good job.
Well, Harry's just Harry's well, yes, Harry didn't do a good job, so that's that.
Yeah.
And so I do think, right, like the scenes with Darla and the children and the rest of it, all of those scenes, right,
Yeah.
are working very, very well.
Well, especially like I was saying, the payoff I was getting to, which is why is it troubling me? Uh that I will have to leave Rita and the kids. And I'm like, because you care about them.
Yeah, he doesn't want
Obviously,
to. It's
you
very
obviously
strange.
care about them.
Yeah, and he won't go there.
He can't accept it. He
Yeah,
can't accept that he obviously has emotions. He keeps telling himself that he doesn't, even though he obviously
he
does.
does. Yeah.
Well, again, even in the flashback, when he's worried about Deb playing with guns,
Yes.
he's worried about her.
Yeah.
He's not worried that Harry will find out, right? And punish them. No, he's genuinely worried about her.
Yeah.
And that's clear even when he was a kid. But Harry has created this framework for how he can only understand himself
Yeah.
as a monster.
Yep.
Right? Harry doesn't let him explore this side of himself. Because again, if he started to explore this side of himself, he'd ask to is like, well, okay, why do I have this anger? If I wasn't born a monster and I can feel, why is there this anger that won't go away and fills my entire life? And if he finds that out, Harry's sins are exposed.
Yeah.
So Harry has to convince him that he's a monster.
Yeah. It is
It's
it's
good.
tracking. This is all tracking very well now,
Yeah,
right?
especially with original sin.
Yeah. After you've watched Original Sin, when you're watching this, it
It
tracks a
tracks
hell of a lot better.
100%. It tracks perfectly.
Yeah.
Oh, I forgot. How to I forgot to mention, like, the when they got now that we know that there's a timeline on Harry's death, right?
Yeah.
Like, the thing I wanted to mention about that was, it's like, if we're not getting Original Sin season 2, like, is there a chance I mean, the problem is Brian's dead. I was just like, do you think that in Resurrection season 2 we might find a way to get closure on that?
Maybe. I don't well,
I mean, do you
let's
think?
just
Okay, I'm just gonna say it. Okay, this is gonna be my pitch. Obviously, I'm not working on the show. Could I call up Breen and ask if he knows the showrunner of Dexter Resurrection, and I just cold call them and try to get a job? Maybe. But here's my pitch if I were there.
yeah.
A, Brian's got a son. Duh. We've already talked about that. B, Brian Moser's secret diary. Done. There.
Yeah.
We find Brian Moser's secret diary and we get everything from Brian's point of view, and that's how we get more Brian. There you
Yeah.
go.
Okay.
Brian Moser's secret diary. Laura Palmer's secret diary? Same deal,
Yeah.
except Brian Moser, a much more likable character.
Yes, then
That was
Laura Palmer.
mean. That was a
That
weird
was me.
drive-by on Laura Palmer.
Yeah, poor Laura Palmer.
Yeah,
I
she didn't
mean,
have a good life.
no, she did not have a good life and
Her dad was even more of a monster than Harry.
yeah.
Oh
So,
my God.
yeah.
Okay, so
Okay.
yeah, so they
Let's get
anyway,
back.
they wrap up. Deb is sure that the ice truck killer is behind
This is so funny.
because they drop, and she's right,
Yep.
you know, because the body shows up. The woman's body shows up of the couple lying on the table.
Yeah.
Lying on the table.
And of course,
So Brian went down And I mean, and this is the amazing part. So he was following him on a boat,
Obviously.
and he waited till Dexter left, and he scuba dove down 100 feet, and he grabbed the body, and he dragged it back up, and he made it all. But and this is the insane part. He got all the way back to the junkyard and put her on the table before the women who had escaped from the place managed to get the cops there.
Yeah.
That's some efficient work, Brian. Like, you got to respect the hustle that this
Yeah.
man is demonstrating. Like, this is some impressive hustle this man is demonstrating. Even more than the arcade stuff from original
Sin. I know.
Even more so. So yeah, I was quite impressed that Brian pulled this off. But so yeah, they're like, Deb, for no reason, assumes it's a copycat of the ice truck killer. There's no reason for her to think that. Nothing about the MO has anything to do with the ice truck killer, except that the fact that this woman bled to death after having her throat slashed. But that's not even the ice truck killer's MO. His is to cool them down, hang them upside down, and then drain all of their blood at once. Right? And that's not what happened to this woman. She was a regular slash.
Yes, but Deb is so
fixated
on the ice truck killer. She's going to see the ice truck killer whenever she sees a knife.
Yeah, you're right.
A knifing, you know, she's going to see it everywhere, and that maybe, you know, her so she doesn't, so that leaves it. I mean, Dexter is terrified because Dexter's at the crime scene.
Yep. And they think he thinks he's been caught, and then he's like, oh my God, did I leave a speck of blood somewhere? I mean, does it matter? Like, these are the people who owned this place. If you find a speck of their blood in a place they owned, it's not actually suspicious, Dexter.
No, well, poor Dexter. And so then he's
panicking. He's on tilt.
He's panicking because they find the boy.
Yeah, they find the boy, and
the boy is traumatized.
Yeah.
The boy is completely traumatized, can't say anything. And Dexter goes, oh shit, he's probably seen me. And the kid won't say anything. And all of a sudden you get a human face to LaGuardia. LaGuardia.
Exactly.
Yeah. And it was, that part of it was very nice.
The humanization of Maria LaGuardia finally happening is great. It took 6 episodes, but we're finally getting some more depth to her and seeing her human side, which we really enjoy.
Yeah. And how her backstory
is informing this.
And she was just like this little boy.
Yeah, she was a Cuban refugee.
Yeah. And without parents.
Yep.
And so, you know, so that was very nice how they, you know, she talks to him in Spanish, and then he's only attaching himself to her until his Uncle Roberto shows up.
Finally shows up.
They finally found Uncle Roberto, who actually went to the police where he lives to find him.
Yeah, because he knew that he was coming or was supposed to be coming.
Yeah.
And when he didn't turn up and they didn't hear from the coyotes, he went to the cops to look for the kid.
Yeah. It's
interesting.
Yeah. No, it was really, and it's interesting watching Dexter because he doesn't want to be seen by the kid. The kid puts his head down anyway all the time.
He's not really at risk. And then half the episode, he's working with a sketch artist to try and figure out who, because the kid says that somebody rescued him, right?
Yeah.
Stopped the bad people and rescued him. And Dexter is sure it's going to be a picture of him. And that's why he does all of the planning to leave that we've talked about.
Yeah. You know, so he throws out all of his blood work.
All of his knives and his, you know, reciprocating saw and all of that.
Everything is gone. Right?
Oh, except for his slides. He doesn't get rid of his slides.
Yeah, but he knows he should.
He's going to, but then he realizes what I can do is, because Brian, again, amazing how busy you are, Brian. After doing that at the body, he immediately went to Dexter's house and drew a smiley face on the woman's blood slide.
I know.
And Dexter realizes, wait a minute, who's going to believe a kid? I can just frame the husband for killing the wife and
Yeah.
I can get away with this, no problem. And so that's what he does. He puts it on he puts her blood on a knife and on a bloody sock, and then he hides it inside the junkyard, and so they pawn it off on the husband. And then and then the and then the picture comes back and it's Jesus.
Oh,
He was rescued by Jesus.
Jesus.
Oh my God, I was so happy. Oh, that
You
was
know,
so
there's Dexter,
funny.
and it takes us a long time
Yeah.
because they're all just looking at it, right? And going,
Oh
can
my
you believe
God.
this?
Seriously?
Oh
Can you
my,
believe that?
seriously?
And
Can
it's
you
like,
believe that?
is it because they recognize him? No, it's because it's a picture of Jesus.
Jesus, right?
I
And
loved
then
it.
one of the cops says, well, you really think it was Jesus? Well, you never know.
Well,
Maybe
Angel
it
is like,
was.
no, but Angel quite responds is like, he was locked in a trunk for 3 days. Maybe Jesus did save him.
Who knows?
Yeah, I love that. I
Dexter as
love that.
Jesus.
Dexter as Jesus, right?
Because Dexter, I mean, that
Yeah.
is in his brain, whoever, because it was dark.
Oh, it was very dark.
So he wouldn't have
He
seen.
didn't get a good look,
No,
No. And so in his head, he, planned
it
it
had.
with El Salvador, right? The guy who's there to save you, right? So
Hmm.
of course he would internalize it as being Dexter. He's a 5-year-old, like he
Hmm.
hasn't. It makes perfect sense and is also hilarious. So yeah,
It was
very,
just hilarious
very
at the
great
end,
moment.
right? Yeah.
Genuinely great moment.
Yep, it
All
was.
right. So that's kind of us up on the plot. He only actually killed like two people this week as part of a single crime, and he could have called the cops on them. So that's that ruling there. Now let's talk a little bit about the show's whole take on sex, because Dexter is very uncomfortable and with, sex drive and how to interact, and you have the hilarious moment of thinking, oh well, I can have sex with her. All right, boom, oral sex, please her to cheer her up when she's sad about watching Terms of Endearment. So yeah, he's not great at this, right?
But that's what Angel told him.
But that's what Angel told him, and Angel
That's what
seems to
Angel.
do okay with women.
Whenever
So
they start talking, want to talk, you just go
yeah,
down on them. Just like,
exactly.
oh God, Angel,
Angel, I see
you
where you're having
wonder
trouble
why
with
your
your
wife
wife.
has left you,
I know, right?
get you out.
Oh my God, Angel. Oh, you're the worst and we love you. But so that's fun. But at the same time, I think it's worth mentioning, like, the show is not following up on something interesting from last week that we didn't really dig into, which is that Dexter was, again, like, aroused by seeing Brian's work. Like he was sexually aroused by seeing the way that Brian is brutalizing bodies.
Yeah.
And they haven't followed up on that. And it really does. I mean, okay, now let's talk briefly about the development of fetishes and how in America specifically, and this is going to be a disgusting thing. We're going to end up at a disgusting point, but the show is forcing us to go there. In America specifically, because they have such this weird puritanical look at sex, there becomes this, well, sex is the thing that's forbidden, and people's fetishes frequently wind up having to do with another thing that was forbidden to that child.
Yeah.
And it is saying something pretty bleak. And again, I don't know if they're going to pursue this. I don't remember that part. But the first thing we've seen that genuinely arouses Dexter sexually is a callback to how his mother was killed. And it's interesting because it seems, I mean, 100% violence was always going to be a part of his sexuality because, of the horrible stuff that happened to him as a child. But the fact that seeing a recreation, that he doesn't know that he's looking at a recreation of his mother's death, right?
Right. Right.
But still, seeing a recreation of his mother's death is what arouses him. And so when he was a teen, when he was first exploring his sexuality, when he was figuring out what turned him on, at the same time, he is dealing with these violent urges. And so it seems like that those violent urges got mixed up with his subconscious memories of his mother's death
Well, it's because
somehow.
violence is the only thing he understands
Yeah.
and the only emotion he is allowed to have.
Yes.
Okay. So, and Harry doesn't do we've already said this, but doesn't do any, um, he just tells him that you have to have relationships because that's what normal boys do,
Yeah.
and you're not normal. And therefore, everything about him that's not normal, and of course, seeing his mother chopped up
Yep.
is not normal, is
Hmm.
all going to fall.
All into
It'll
this
be
one
on the
big
edges,
bucket.
this
Yeah.
one big bucket, except that bucket has got concrete over it. That part of the
Yes.
bucket has got concrete over it. So there's no way that he can figure out why. And I don't even think that he really understands that either
No.
at this point. Like he doesn't even understand why this is causing this at all, because if he would have to remember what happened to him,
Well, and that's something that
and
I
he
want to
can't.
pursue, right? Because that I want to pursue in the way we're watching this, because it's worth considering, right? That the fact that Dexter, every time he kills somebody, is reenacting his mother's murder because he takes a saw and he chops that person up every time.
Yeah. Yeah, and he just doesn't, he's doing the same thing that Brian is doing
Exactly. And
without
that's
all of the
why
other stuff.
And the thing is, why is that arousing him sexually is what I want to dig into. Because, like, sexuality being important to people's self identity comes up in these episodes with Rita and the blowjob, with Tony, with Deb seeing that the only way to make Tony feel like a man again is to hire a sex worker,
Yeah.
right? Like,
One of the,
sexuality
yeah,
being key to identity, and like Rita is gonna only, ever since, right, she had to do with this horrific sexual abuse, she has dressed for Halloween as a Disney princess every year,
yeah,
completely sexless feminine objects,
yeah,
right? And
yep,
now she decides, no, I'm going to say that I'm going to be a new person. I'm going to reclaim my sexuality, hence the Laura Croft costume, the
yeah,
most sexualized video game character.
yep.
Like sexuality being integral to self-identity is a theme in these three episodes. So what does it mean that the only time we've seen Dexter be aroused is when he's looking at Brian recreating their mother's murder?
Yeah, and the fact that there's no blood
Yeah,
in Brian's
in Brian's
displays.
version of it, because he's not
Yeah,
aroused when he chops people up.
no, he's not.
And it's almost like the thing that he's so horrified by is the ocean of blood from his childhood.
Yeah,
And the fact that Brian has recreated this tableau, and again, now I'm saying
no
that
blood.
Dexter without the blood.
Yeah,
So all that's left are the pieces of his mother, but with none of the horrific blood that sprayed everywhere when she was being killed.
yeah,
So it's like Brian's corpses are essentially a stand-in, and now I'm getting into Oedipus stuff. But again, stand in for this image of his mother that is deep within his psyche, and now we're getting into Jung, right? But this image of the mother as ideal woman deep in his head, but the blood had always traumatized him from his childhood. So when he sees the chopped up woman without the blood, it is triggering something so deep within him. I'm like, I don't know that we need an answer for this today. Okay. I'm not expecting us to decode everything that's going on with sex and violence in Dexter today. But given how clearly, right, with the Tony stuff, with the Rita stuff, the show is talking about how integral people's sexuality is to that self-identity, I think it has to mean something that
well,
Dexter was aroused by Brian's handiwork. I'm
I
just not
think,
sure what it is yet.
well, I don't even think, okay, Dexter doesn't know what it is. That's clear. He
No,
doesn't
Dexter has
understand
no
it.
idea what's going on.
No. And I suspect if season 2 of Original Sin had been allowed to happen,
We might have gotten a better look at this.
we might have had a better look at this,
Yeah.
because it might have sort of, when he is a teenager, obviously everything is put in, he doesn't have emotions. So I suspect that his father would also say, or Harry would also say, that he doesn't, that he therefore doesn't have sort of, or he's afraid to deal with the sexual stuff,
Yeah, the sex
because
drive concept.
the concept of a sex drive. And so he kind of pushes it away, or, well, the confusion that everybody has when, when they're first starting, and the sex
Figuring
drive and
out
the
what
rest of
they're
it.
into, and
And and Harry is pushing him to focus on the violence and not on anything else. And then all of a sudden you've got this. Now there wouldn't have, well, unless the mother had sexually abused the children, which is not where this is
No,
going.
that's definitely not where this is
Okay,
going.
that's not where this is going.
Yeah.
So it has to be something different. Like it's like he's almost only now beginning, right, to explore his sexuality, that he's
Yeah.
basically been avoiding it up to this point.
Mm-hmm.
Particularly after the horrible thing with Deb's friend.
Yeah.
I could see him swearing off, okay, I can't do anything with women because I haven't got a clue anymore, and I got to watch
I
people.
mean, he
And
definitely continued dating, but it
yes,
didn't go well.
it never went well. And they would
Yeah.
always kick him out because he was weird.
Mm-hmm.
And whereas Darla,
Yeah.
because she wasn't interested in sex when they got together, it was fine
Managed
for
to,
him.
yeah,
Yeah.
and also I think she's willing to be more accepting of his weirdness because she already cares about him.
Yes, and she considers herself sort of weird. And
Yeah.
she's happy to have a man who is never going to push himself on her.
Yeah.
So therefore, it's a growing relationship,
Mm-hmm.
right? And it's a slow growing relationship. And Dexter has finally gone, oh, so sex is, oh, okay.
Yeah. Nothing wrong with
Maybe
this.
this is okay. But he still doesn't know how to handle that. No, all you had to do was put your arm around her,
I know, right?
you know. And then
It's terms of endearment. What are you doing?
yes, but at least, but she just laughs, right?
Yeah, of course.
So she's willing to, because he is so good with the children, because he is so good with her, because
Yeah.
he actually listened to her
Oh, yeah.
when she said, no, don't confront this guy, because she knew that he wanted to.
Yeah.
That the guy that came and took away her car.
Yeah.
And then he got her this.
He respects her. No, fundamentally, it
Yes.
comes down to respect. And I
Yeah.
love the car he found her, by the way.
Yeah, it's a
Like,
wonderful car, and the kids
drug
love it.
dealer's car
Yeah.
that he borrowed from the impound until
Yeah.
it has to be auctioned. Love that car. No notes. Perfect choice, Dexter.
So, to get over the SUV until
Yeah,
she could afford to get another SUV. But
exactly.
so
There's
it
plenty
it
of room for the kids in that thing.
but the sexuality thing, because we are seeing it, like, and that's partly when you bring in the angel thing, right?
Yeah.
And partly when you look at LaGuardia and how she treats everybody.
Yep.
We've seen your favorite guy's family now. It's
Yep.
actually almost a better version. He's almost a better version. I like his family better than I like Dexter's family. In the sense, right, that you didn't have it was clear, right, that you didn't have the racial identity issue
Oh, you
as
mean
well.
Derek's family? You said
Derek's
Dexter.
family. Oh, no, Derek's family.
I was confused there for a
Okay,
second.
I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
Yeah, there's
Derek
no
from
extra
Criminal
issues of what
Minds,
is his racial identity,
as
confusing
well
everything for
as
him. Yeah,
as
yeah, yeah.
well as
I
everything
understand.
else, right? Because that's a complicated factor,
An incredibly
complicating factor.
complicated factor in his life. Yeah.
Yeah. And so what happened is that, and we saw that, whereas here it is clear, right?
Oh, yeah, 100%.
This is just no racial identity issue here.
No,
You
no, that's
know,
not a part of yeah, that's not part of Dokes' life at all.
Dokes' life at all. It's
No.
just that he's got these women, and I
He's
guess he
got
must be,
surrounded by these women. Yeah.
yeah, who just don't wanna.
Yeah.
And then of course this is why he's been having such problems with Deb, I
Yeah.
suspect.
Oh, it wouldn't shock me.
Yeah, because she's just like his sisters. Obviously, we saw them at the
Yep, we
dinner
saw
table,
it.
right?
Yeah, because again, but like Derek Morgan, he
Yeah,
is a guy who grew up surrounded by women without, obviously, we don't know what happened to his father,
no,
right? But his father's not around anymore, right?
yeah,
And so he has this very loner, tough guy idea of masculinity that he has developed in sharp contrast with how his sisters are.
mm, mm.
Yeah, it's very
And
interesting.
yeah, no, it is interesting, right? Because remember, Dexter's father also died. Harry died too.
Oh yeah.
So it's not a surprise. I mean, we're still talking, um, we're talking um times the 70s and the 80s, men
Yep.
dropped dead much younger than women did,
Yes. Oh, all of
and
them chain smoked.
yeah,
All of them chain smoked, and that'll do a real number on your arteries.
so there's all sorts of issues there, right? And but this thing we're going to have to follow it through.
We're going to have to track the progress of
But you
this
see,
aspect.
because all at here, the problem is that his life has now been um, defined by violence.
Yes.
Okay, and the violence started the extreme violence because the
Hmm.
other violence would have left its impact so that his whole life with his biological father,
Yeah.
right, who was in also in prison.
Yeah.
Yeah, just like he's ending up with Darla, whose husband is in prison. Yeah, I mean they were paralleling, they were
Quite
going to
clearly.
parallel this. I really think
I am
so.
interested to see if we ever find out more about Dexter's real dad, right? His biological father.
Mm,
Because the man, right, she was a single mother when Dexter was born, but they have the same, we assume they have the same father.
yeah,
We don't know for sure. We haven't had that confirmed yet. You and I are assuming that maybe that gets confirmed to Dexter later. We don't remember. But we
yeah.
assume they have the same father, and we don't know if Moser is her maiden name or if there's like a Steve Moser out there somewhere who's Dexter's biological father
And Brian's biological
and
father.
Brian
Yeah.
biological father. We don't even know if that's her maiden name. Like maybe that is, and she never married Dexter or Brian's father. Like there's stuff we just don't know about his origin, and
Yeah.
maybe it comes up later on Dexter. We don't know
Yeah.
for sure, but right now we're just,
And given the
very much
fact, okay, given,
curious to see where
yeah,
this goes.
that Brian was having some issues,
Yeah.
right?
Oh, I'm
Already.
sure his father wasn't good before he ditched them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Before he ran out on them or
Again,
whatever.
they were already drug dealers,
Yes. So,
you know?
yeah, they're living the drug dealer life. And
Yeah, exactly.
so once
So
you
we
start,
know we know both parents were drug users as well as dealers.
mhm,
So there was neglect. In Brian's case, there almost certainly was abuse,
yeah,
right? We don't know if Dexter, we assume the father was the abusive one. So Dexter would have just been neglected while Brian was because the father was gone by the time Dexter was born.
yeah.
So we assume that Brian had abuse and Dexter just had neglect, but there's obviously something there, and that's, a bridge I want to know if they cross. And then they found out that Dexter, resurrection is largely about Dexter's dad or something like that.
Yeah. Who
Or
knows?
or Dexter New Blood, it's gonna turn out that the reason he moved to Vermont or wherever is because Clancy Brown is his dad or something like that. You know, maybe all of these questions have already been answered in a TV show we didn't watch.
Yeah, well, we're
Right?
not watching it until we get
No,
there.
until we get there, we're playing fair. We're not cheating.
Yeah,
We're not looking ahead. And now that, Google alerts are sending me Dexter news, I have to be doubly careful.
careful.
God damn you, Google. You're smart enough to know we're watching Dexter, but you're not smart enough to know we don't want spoilers. Oh,
Come
all
on.
right.
But
But
it
yeah,
is, no, it's an interesting thing watching this develop
yeah,
and whether it is going to go, because I don't ever remember the sort of violence being part of his relationships,
yeah. And I
his
don't know
sexual
that it is.
relationships.
But I don't know that it is, but I don't know that it's honest that it isn't. You
Yeah,
see what
well,
I'm saying?
that's, well, yeah, but it might not be because it just is, because he has embedded, now he's 35. This
He's
is,
not,
he's
yeah, he's
done, he's
35. Yeah, yeah.
embedded. He's
Yeah,
embedded. So if he had been fixated on women and violence,
yeah.
which says something about Harry's process,
Mm-hmm.
unlike Brian,
Yeah,
right? It's almost as if you've got, okay, like this psychiatrist, when we get to season 8 or
yeah.
whatever, you've got these two cases, right? These two
Mm-hmm.
children who saw the same thing. One is older than the other child, but the violence is focused on, okay, killing the bad guys,
Yeah.
and the
And the other
other is
one,
left to his own devices, and the push is to try and resolve the murder of his mother
yeah,
within his psyche, and he can't do it, and he just keeps killing women.
yeah.
Violence
And
is pushed against
it's
women.
fascinating. And I'm interested
Yeah.
to see how it goes. And I got to say, maybe that is obviously we want more Brian, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it I think the biggest thing that we are robbed of in Dexter Original Sin season 2
Yeah.
is a flashback to like introduce the monstrous psychologist who helped Harry,
Yeah.
figure out how he was going to gaslight Dexter,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? And how he was going to manipulate Dexter. That would have been such an in if they had the guts to go there, that would have been such an interesting set of flashbacks.
Yeah.
And honestly, based on the content of, based on their willingness to be clear-eyed about Harry's sins and the
Mm-hmm.
original sin being Harry's,
Yeah.
like the titular original sin is Harry's. The show is not
Yeah.
coy about that. This is not
Yeah.
us reading into it.
No. No.
That is the plot of the show, is that Harry is the bad guy,
Yeah.
right? And so the fact that they were willing to do that suggests that they may have been willing to get really deep into how Dexter was manipulated into becoming a monster by these two people.
Yeah.
And
That
it's
would
just
have
he
been,
never
yeah.
knew one of the people existed.
Yeah. And that just goes to, oh, anyway, socialization.
Yeah, well, it is. And it's like, because remember, she did the same, like, she had her own anti-Dexter, right? She did the same
Yeah.
thing to her own son,
Jeez.
and her son turned into a monster.
Yep. And Brian turned
It's,
into a monster.
yeah, Brian turned into a monster because of, society.
Yeah.
Society made Brian a monster.
Yeah.
Harry and this woman whose name we've forgotten turned Dexter into a monster.
Yeah. And
Right?
but it is, as I say, it is very interesting, particularly because I suspect there is little, the sexualization thing would not
Yeah,
have, if it had even been remotely there, but you see, Dexter had a sister,
yeah,
Dexter had a mother.
yeah. He had socialization. He had a family. He had a support system.
Yes.
Brian had none of that.
None of that.
Brian was left to dangle,
Mm-hmm.
and look at what happened to him.
Yeah,
Again,
that's
we
exactly
are
it.
very much clearly, I mean, we don't even have to pretend anymore. We are resolutely team Brian Moser did nothing wrong at
Well,
this point.
well, yes. I mean, yes, he did Yeah, he did
No,
horrible
no,
things.
every bad thing he did
Is
is Harry's
Harry's fault.
responsibility.
Yeah, okay.
Brian Moser did nothing wrong. Harry is the sinner here. Because again, given how smart Brian is,
Yeah,
given that he's better at this than Dexter, he
yeah,
could have gotten away with this forever. The only thing that got Brian Moser caught is his desperate need to reconnect with his brother.
yeah.
That's it. He
Yep.
could have gotten away with this
And
forever.
that's what they say. Is the
You
one
know?
thing that will get you is family.
His family. Yep. Family is what gets you killed, to quote Criminal Minds.
To quote Criminal Minds.
To quote Criminal Minds about another man who groomed someone into being a serial killer. Criminal Minds and Dexter, you know, it's like they're crossing a lot of they're crossing over in interesting ways these days.
Yes.
But it's family that gets you killed. Brian could have gotten away with this forever. He's very smart and he's
Yes.
very good at what he does. He obviously could have gotten away with this forever, and it is only his need to be with his brother, right? To fulfill this, to resolve this childhood trauma. That's the only reason he gets caught, and it's the only reason he gets killed. And he's smart, maybe smarter than Dexter. He's obviously better at this than Dexter, right?
Yeah, he's probably smarter than Dexter too.
He probably is smarter than Dexter. And so the question becomes, there is no reason he couldn't have been taught this code. There is no reason he couldn't have been put to work in Harry's project. And the only reason it never occurred to Harry to try and recruit Brian is because he didn't want Dexter to find out what he had done to his mother and him.
Yep.
And that Harry didn't want Harry's own sins to be revealed, and that's why Brian had to go.
Yep.
Again, it's so much better than we thought it was going to be.
Well, yeah, no, and only because, and I will say this, that a lot of the complaints that we had when we watched Dexter have in part been ameliorated by
even more ameliorated. I would say resolved by original sin.
By original sin.
By making a show about how Harry is the villain of this story.
Yeah.
They have resolved so many of our criticisms, because one of our main criticisms was, does this show understand that Harry is the villain?
Oh, yes.
And I think the show, this is my dim memories, we'll find out it is, I think the show is so in love with Dexter that it could never understand that Harry was the villain later on. But this first season is playing with that idea.
Yeah. And so it changes things for sure, like we thought it might.
Yeah.
I didn't think it would do it this well.
Severely and as well as it did.
And we're seeing things differently too, because remember, we watched it, it was on once a week.
Yeah.
So you watched it episodically. You didn't watch it streaming,
which
is why I'm saying these things tend to
they can run together. They
kind of run together, to
You're
get
absolutely right.
The story together, because they're continuing stories and they're all good and they're all solid. And I mean, Dexter's annoying overthinking everything and continuing is more understandable now.
Yeah, it is.
Than it was when we watched it the first time. That's for sure, because it's getting to be, and the world has changed too.
Oh, completely.
I mean, there's no question that the world has massively changed, and Dexter is
we now live in a world that is where everyone is more willing to accept that the cops are the bad guys.
Yeah.
And in order to fully understand Harry's sin and who Harry was, you have to be willing to abandon the idea that there is a default goodness about being a police officer.
Yeah. And so
that cops deserve it. You have to be willing to rid yourself of the notion that cops deserve the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah. here is okay. And if you, what I would say is if you, like the only, no, this isn't added, has nothing to do with all of this. I
Okay.
just want to say that I do think that Christian Slater
Yeah.
did do a, like, I'm watching this Harry and I'm
Yeah.
going, yeah, I can believe that he would have turned into Christian Slater.
Yeah. The Christian Slater would have turned into this guy. You mean.
That Christian Slater would have turned into this guy that
Yeah.
Dexter is remembering,
Totally.
because
It
we
makes
see
sense.
him we only see him really at the end and when he's younger. So there's the in between part, although we've got a timeline that says a year later he's dead.
Yeah.
Um, but his heart was giving out and more than
And we have
once.
seen Christian Slater remake scenes
Yes.
that James Remar was in, right?
Yes.
About the
Yeah.
dying Harry and the nurse and all that.
Yeah. And so, and it's to a large extent, I buy it.
Oh, I
I
do too.
wondered whether I would when I started to see these flashbacks. And after 6
I
episodes, I'm
agree.
going, yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
he did a good job.
I think Christian
Not
Slater did
a
a very
Deb
good
good
job.
job.
No, no one can do
Can
as
do a
a good a
Deb good
job
job.
as Deb did, as
Oh
Molly
my,
Brown does
did
being
Molly.
Deb. Again,
Oh, jeez.
the greatest act of like acting mimicry, maybe in fiction, is Molly Brown's
Brown's.
recreation of young Deb. It's
Yeah.
perfect.
It's perfect. It's dead on.
It
Oh,
is
and we didn't talk.
exact. And what didn't we talk about?
Okay. Yeah, this is going to be too long.
I know
But
we are doing long. We're gonna cut this off in a second. But what's the last thing you want to
okay.
address?
What I want to tell you is we forgot to talk about Deb's coming up with the profile, which
Yes, when she comes
scares
up
the
the first
hell
time,
out of Dexter.
because it's exactly Dexter.
It's Dexter. No, Dexter thinks that he plays it down, right?
Yeah.
Dexter does not realize that nobody would look at him.
No.
Even though he fit that profile, nobody would look at him.
Of course they wouldn't.
Why would they look at him? He's
No.
Dexter. He's the nice guy that they all hang out with,
Yeah, they all who brings them donuts and everybody likes him.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and he's
it
Angel's
doesn't
best
matter.
friend.
It doesn't matter that he exactly fits the profile. No one's looking at Angel's best friend and thinking he's a serial killer. It's just not going to happen.
It's not going to happen. So Dexter doesn't really have to worry about it. But those scenes were so funny.
Yeah, when she's describing him and the thing. Yeah, yes, you fit that exactly, but no one's gonna see that, Dexter. You're right. That was very funny.
Yes, and I'm
You're
just
right. That was
yeah,
hilarious.
that
All
was hilarious. They managed to give us, and that's the beauty so far now that
Yeah.
differently than when I saw it the first time, is that this, right? You have these moments and you're looking at the crafting of it.
Yeah.
Here you have, and now that I know the showrunner who created Original Sin is the showrunner who did this, it makes so much sense.
It makes so much sense. And it's like, we don't know the story of him leaving the show, right? We don't know the story of what happened. Like maybe it is a story like Ray Donovan of wanting to go in a different direction
Or Bernero.
than, yeah, right? Like maybe, or than the network wanted, and maybe even the stars wanted. Who knows?
Yeah.
We don't know the backstory, but what we can say is it really, just as analysts, as people looking at the arc of this show, it really does seem like Original Sin is an attempt to delve deeper into the themes that were always there in the first season and the first 2 seasons.
Yeah.
Right? To delve deeper, to take a hard look at the character of Harry, whose darkness was always there in the first season, and maybe it never got explored as much as it needed to.
Yeah.
But yeah,
to explain Dexter.
To explain Dexter. And again, the fact
Without
that
him,
the show's the titular Original Sin is Harry's is so integral to understanding the show.
Yeah, and it has made a big difference. So I won't go any further with any of that. Let's call it now.
We're gonna have plenty to talk about next week, I guarantee it.
Oh yeah.
For now though, if you have any questions, if you have any comments, if you have your own theories about who really was the bad guy in the show, it's Harry. Drop us a line at profilingcriminalminds@gmail.com. We would love to hear from you. If you were listening on an app, podcatcher, or watching on YouTube, hi, thanks. Rate, review, and subscribe. That's how people find out about the show. We're going to see you back here next week with episodes 7 through 9, which means tragically, we've only got 2 more weeks of our beloved Brian Moser. It's going to be rough saying goodbye to our beloved Brian Moser, but we're going to have to. We'll see you back here for that. But until then, I'll say that's right. Au revoir.
And have a good week.